From the outside looking in, you might assume that Europe gives us money, gives us opportunity, gives us an internship, and gives us a free ride. But there are quite a few people in this room who have proved this wrong. We work hard to earn every dollar and every opportunity to show that we have what it takes to reach our full potential. For almost my whole life, I felt incomplete. I know what it feels like to literally have nothing. My parents divorced before I was born, and my father passed away when I was 2. I heard stories of how my father used to beat my mother, and of how despicable he was. People said that despite all of this, he loved me, that I was the only thing that brought him joy. But even after his death, I still suffered abuse, the scars for which I still carry today. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. I'm sorry, guys.
Take your time.
In my early years in Stoneville, North Carolina, I was the only Asian person and was discriminated against at school. I felt like I had nowhere to go, like there was no escape. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. I don't know how I finally graduated high school. Perhaps it was the motivation to get out of North Carolina. I moved to California with the money I saved working at Zaxby's Chicken, a fast food restaurant. I had an uncle who was going to college here in the Bay Area, so we rented a room together. I started at City College and got a job at the Olive Garden. As some of my fellow graduates would agree, attending college and working a part-time job isn't easy. Eventually, I stopped going to classes because making money to survive was more important. But my job waiting tables was going in circles, and I had no plans for the future. When I was laid off my job about a year ago, I didn't have money, and I didn't have any money saved, and I couldn't afford to pay rent. I was forced to leave California and move back home with my mother in Washington, but there were even fewer options for me there, so I decided to return to San Francisco. Unintentionally, I came across the Vietnamese Youth Development Center, where I met with a man named Tran. I described my situation and asked for help. Tech helped me get off the streets and into a homeless shelter through Larkin Street Youth Services. He helped me get a part-time job at Levi's, and months later, told me about Europe. I was iffy about Europe at first. I thought that learning technical skills would be a waste of time, especially because I was already working. But I liked that I could get paid while completing the program, and that it might help me get back into college. I could start thinking more long-term. I took a chance and applied, and I was accepted. Europe has been a blessing. Before I started, I was computer illiterate. I didn't know how to write an email, or even how to turn off the computer properly. I had no clue how to dress for a corporate workplace. And I didn't have a grain of confidence. Thanks to Europe, now I know you're not supposed to wear white socks with a suit. Coming back to California felt like skydiving, without a parachute. I didn't know if I would survive or not. When I arrived at SFO, I called and texted every number on my cell phone, but no one came through for me. I didn't know where to go for the night, so I stayed at a hostel in the Tenderloin. A week passed, and I ran out of money. I roamed the city with my suitcase, backpack, and duffel bag, looking for work. I spent my last $7 on dinner at McDonald's. And as day turned to night, I slipped in Union Square until a security guard kicked me away. Sitting in the park nearby, I had never felt so alone, so cold, so unwanted, and so ashamed. I had no money, no job, and no support from friends or family. It was difficult to hold the tears in. I sat there for hours. Then something came over me. There was this little hope left inside of me, the kind of hope that we all had when we first started this program, the kind of hope that told me not to give up and that this wasn't the end for me. I thought to myself, I don't want this to be the story of Sotheara Yem. I want more out of life. Because of Europe, I'm enrolled in college again, and I intern at Responsys, a company that does email marketing. I code HTML, which is challenging, but my supervisor, Rob Chu, told me that I have the perseverance and the determination to learn from my mistakes. Because of the hard work I have put in, starting yesterday, I am officially a full-time employee at Responsys. As a class, we believe in Europe's mission, to close the opportunity divide, and in what it does to help young people like us reach our full potential. The people at Europe mean business. They're here to change lives. We're proof of that. As a class, Europe has filled our lives with hope. We know that we have to succeed to make sure that the people we love will never have to deal with the challenges and obstacles that we had to. We know we can do this by being stable in a career that we're passionate about. We want to give our future family a love beyond belief, a genuine love that fills them with hope. I want to be the parent that I never had. Just 1 year ago, I literally had nothing. Tran saved my life. And today, thanks to Europe and to Class 4, I have a parachute. Europe has helped us rebuild ourselves, setting us up for a better future. They helped us develop skills and experience and gave us tools and resources that we know will carry us for our entire lives. We want to take a moment to thank and praise one man in particular. Well, we're all here today because of this man's dream and dedication to make a change in this world. Europe wouldn't be possible without Jared Sotheara, the CEO and founder of this beautiful program. Every one of us has mentors, tutors, managers, staff members, friends and family we would like to thank in some way to get us here, to help get us here. I want to thank Ruby Pratt, my case manager at the Lark Inn, who is one of the most genuine persons I've ever met, and Van Anderson, who is my best friend, my brother, and my mentor. Also, my Europe mentor, Chris Herndon, who is someone I look up to. Without them, I don't know where I would be. When I joined Europe, I felt like I was always playing catch up with the other students. It was difficult because I didn't have any support. I'm sure many of my classmates felt the same, whether they were juggling full-time jobs, parenthood, or similar history of hardship. And so we also want to thank everyone associated with Europe who helped and supported us. Today, there are names and numbers in our phone we can call for help. People we know will come through for us. I'd like to close with a story that my mentor Responsys Ken Yan shared with me. One day, as a man walked by a group of elephants, he stopped suddenly, confused that these huge creatures were being held only by a thin rope around their legs. It was obvious to him that the elephants at any time can break away from the ropes that held them, but for some reason they didn't. The man saw the animal trainer nearby, and that's why these magnificent animals just stood there, making no attempt to get away. Well, he said, when they are very young and much smaller, we use the same size rope to tie them. At that age, it's enough to hold them. As they grow up, they're conditioned to believe that they cannot break away. They never try to break free from these bonds because they believe they cannot. This powerful, gigantic creature has limited its present abilities by the constraints of its past. Like the elephants, how many of us go through life holding on to a belief that we cannot do something, simply because we failed at it once before? How many of us even try something new and challenging because of this mindset? While your attempt might fail, I believe that you should never fail to make an attempt. A lot of us in Europe have experienced struggles in our life. At some point, we've all felt tied down by these ropes that hold us back from being great. All of us in Class 4 know that Europe wasn't easy. We all worked really hard to be here today, and we've grown so much together. Today, when we walk across this stage, let's be proud. And though this is the end of our year up, let this be the beginning of a bright future for us. Today, it's time to break free from these ropes and be great. It's time to graduate, Class 4. Thank you.